Hello guys and welcome to volokinproject. Tony here, your favorite YouTuber if you didn't know. Now, today I'm gonna do a quick review of the HTC Desire 19. Now, I've tested over 100 phones on my channel and admittedly not many of them HTC because simply I couldn't afford to buy one back in the day. At the moment, you don't have many options if you want an HTC phone and you live in Europe and especially in the UK, the same as me pretty much, but the Desire 19 Plus is one of the options you've got. If you go on Amazon, you can get one for about 150, 160 pounds. For the same amount of money, you admittedly can get a brand new HTC U11, which is a 3-year-old flagship. I recently reviewed that and that's a very good option if you can live with the bad battery life. But the HTC Desire 19 is a little bit more modern phone with, a taller screen and pretty much with bigger battery compared to the HTC U11. So that might be a good option for you, especially if you want, the 2-year warranty, this and that. So if you're interested to see what's in the box, I've got a dedicated video about the unboxing experience as well. But let's start with the design and build quality of the phone. What you should know is that the back cover is made of plastic, guys, which means that I've used the phone for about 10 days now and I can see some micro scratching here and there. So you definitely have to find a case for it. I couldn't find one. I can imagine that you can order one from China, AliExpress or something like that, which is not a particularly good idea, especially considering what's going on outside. But yeah, apart from that, I really have no problems with the design. I really love the blue accents over here. I've got no idea whether you've got different colors available, but this one is more than good enough, guys. The sides are made of plastic, but they feel very, very nice. And I want to say premium, but I would say okay. So overall, no problem with the design. Over here, you've got the teardrop notch, which is pretty much the best implementation of the of any notches, pretty much. And the display is 6.2-inch 720p screen. It is very sharp screen, surprisingly sharp actually. But what's not very nice is when you go and watch a YouTube video and it doesn't look good. In 720p it does not look good, guys. As well as the overall maximum brightness of that screen, it's not very good. As well as the saturation, it is not brilliant as well. I mean, it's okay, it's not overly cold or something like that, but it's just, just to let you know, it is not the best screen out there. Now you've got the rear-facing, yeah, I can say that. Rear-facing fingerprint reader, and it is quite good actually, guys. It works 100% of the time, but have something else in mind. Sometimes you want to register the same finger twice to improve the readability of your finger. You cannot do that. It's limited by the software. You cannot register the same finger twice. You've got a dedicated face unlock which unlocks the phone automatically. Check this out, it works 100% of the time. Both are not the fastest in the world, but they're definitely good enough. They did well over here. Now, coming back to the notch very quickly, there is no way to control the behavior of the phone while gaming. It just uses the default game or software, whatever settings, but you cannot, bypass that setting. Whatever the game looks like with the notch, that's what you get. Some of the games, have a proper cutout, others put a black bar. You cannot control that. Software-wise, you've got stock Android experience pretty much, no additional extras whatsoever, apart from the HTC themes, which is a nice addition, but pretty much nothing fancy. Now, you're gonna be stuck forever at Android 9 because this phone was released in, I believe, July, let's say the summer of 2019, and the security patch level is from like December, which is 4 months old already. So unfortunately, no Android 10 for you whatsoever. If you go on XDA, usually you've got some software development over there, but for this particular device, there is absolutely nothing. So I can imagine you cannot unlock the bootloader, you cannot root it, and therefore there is no custom ROM communities whatsoever. So if you know updates are number one priority to you, well, I can't say I can recommend it, considering it's running an Helio P35 chipset, an MTK chipset, so updates, forget about it. Now the performance, you're thinking like, oh, 720p screen, 8-core processor, the performance should be good. No. The loading times are absolutely atrocious, guys. And with, let's put it this way, some games don't look good at all. For example, Call of Duty, the only graphics option you've got is low setting, nothing else pretty much. And even in low setting, it's not the smoothest experience out there. I'm not saying that you cannot win a game, but it is very, very difficult, guys. On the positive side, the phone doesn't heat at all, even when in gaming mode. And one thing I've noticed about this particular phone is that the best way to describe its performance is like if you have any other phone pretty much and your battery drops below 5% and the phone automatically kicks in the battery saving mode. That's the overall feeling that you're getting, that, you know, it is not very smooth and things take a while to load. So overall, it's, you know, usable in day-to-day basis. It is not brilliant at all. Now let's talk about the battery life quickly. The overall weight of the phone is just 170 grams, and they managed to fit a relatively good battery inside. 3850 milliamperes. And you might be thinking, okay, with the mediocre performance and with the 720p screen, I should get like 10 hours of screen on time. Nope, you're far from that, which is not a surprise because HTC has never had a good battery life anyways. So what I'm getting is between 5.5 and 6 hours of screen on time, which is just about enough. But for these parameters, it should have been at least 8 hours of screen on time. The recharge times are not good either. Half an hour gives you just 30%, and full charge 2 hours and 15 minutes, guys. This is not very good considering you actually have a USB Type-C port, so it should have been better. Now, one other thing to consider, let's talk about the audio performance a little bit. Over here at the bottom, you've got the mono speaker over here. It is very loud, but the quality is just not there, guys. Which, to be honest with you, I prefer to have a loud speaker which is not very good, rather than a quiet speaker, which is very good, because outside this speaker is actually usable, guys. But again, it's not great. 3.5mm jack is average at the best, but luckily you've got the USB Type-C port over here, which means that you can put one of those 3.5mm dongles, USB Type-C dongles. I've got a dedicated video on the dongles. Make sure you check it out. But the HTC own dongle is one of the best, but you're gonna have to, you know, buy that separately if you want to boost that audio volume a little bit. Now, what about the cameras of this phone? I usually do a dedicated separate camera test video, but unfortunately this particular case, it is just not worth it, guys. The front camera is a 16 megapixel unit, but you're never getting the proper sharpness out of those 16 megapixels. Photos are a little bit blurry, although you've got HDR available. You've got AR stickers as well, which might be on the fun side, but they take down the photo to just 1.3 megapixels, which is pretty much unusable, guys. And I like the bokeh. That's pretty much the only thing that I like about the front-facing camera. The bokeh is pretty good. The video quality is 1080p, but to be honest with you, there is a stabilization, but unfortunately it is far from the best, guys. So overall, the front-facing camera, although, you know, it's not the worst, it's kind of one of the worst. So yeah, for 16 megapixel, it's a shame, really. At the back, the situation is not much different as well. 13 megapixel main camera, 5 megapixel bokeh camera, and 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. And my favorite camera of those three is the super wide angle, guys. I mean, surprisingly good photos you can take with super wide angle. I was actually pleasantly surprised. Unfortunately, you cannot take any videos with this super wide angle camera, which is a shame considering, well, the camera is there, so pretty much that's a software limitation, which I don't know why they implemented. But anyway, moving to the main 13 megapixel camera, maximum video resolution is 1080p and it's a little bit shaky. The stabilization doesn't really work as, let's say, promised. You expect better results. I mean, if there is a stabilization, it should work better. That's all I'm saying over here, and unfortunately it doesn't. You've got HDR support, which brings noise even to daylight photos. And some of the photos, don't get me wrong, some of the photos might look good on the phone screen, on social media, even to the computer, but they're always on the soft side, guys. You're not getting a proper sharp image. And when we talk about nighttime photos, please do not take photos in low light because they're absolutely terrible, guys. Here you can see a few examples, but noise level is it's on another level, guys. I mean, when you put the photos on a monitor like that, you're like, oh my god, what have I done? So yeah, it is really not recommended to take low light photos. Alright guys, so before I conclude this video, let's have a look at the Volokin Spectrum scoring system to see how the phone compares to other competitive phones. That's my unique scoring system, 10 different categories, score from 0 to 6. So let's get started. For design and build quality, I'm gonna give the HTC Desire 19 a solid 4 out of 5. Yes, it's built out of plastic, but it's light and it feels good in the hands. For security, I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 as well. Very good fingerprint reader and very good face unlock, no complaints over there. The battery life is fine, I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 because of the slow charging. The screen is 720p and it's not the brightest one out there, so 2 out of 5. For the audio department, I'm gonna give 3 out of 5 to the headphone jack because it's not very good, and I'm gonna give this bottom firing speaker 3 out of 5 as well. The software gets 4 out of 5, stock Android with team support, no complaints over there. For the performance, I'm gonna give it 2 out of 5 simply because the loading times are really long, guys, and most of the games run on low graphical settings. The selfie camera gets 1 out of 5, pretty much one of the worst selfie cameras you can get on any phone. And for the back cameras, I'm gonna give them 2 out of 5 simply because I'm giving a 1 extra bonus point for the super wide angle, otherwise the camera is pretty terrible, guys. So how much is the overall Volokin Spectrum score? It is 28 out of 50, which is pretty much the same as the Samsung Galaxy A20e, which costs only about £100. So when we judge by these specifications and by the qualities of the HTC Desire 19 Plus, this phone should be £100, guys. That's how much I've paid for it because there was some sort of a limited time promotion on the German Amazon. I paid £95, something like that. But my recommendation is, if you want a new HTC phone, get the HTC U11, guys. It's pretty much the better phone in every single aspect apart from the battery life, pretty much. So yeah, if you can find it for 100 quid and you want a solid battery life, yeah, it's a good option, but forget about taking any kind of photos with this phone. But something very interesting though, for example, the Samsung Galaxy A20, I really didn't enjoy my time using that phone. And for whatever strange reason, I actually kind of like this phone and I sort of enjoyed using it. I know it sounds a little bit strange because kind of like on paper this phone is trash, but the overall user experience, let's say, is positive. I guess it's simply because I really like the way this phone looks, guys, and it is light and it is, you know, very pocketable and easy to use. I can only guess that that's my main reason for liking this phone. But again, don't pay more than £100 for it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. On the next video, the HTC Exodus 1S, the Bitcoin phone, is coming to the channel. It's sitting over there, which is you know, too far away from me to reach. But yeah, I've got the unboxing of the HTC you know, Exodus 1S, but unfortunately the Exodus 1S is even worse than that one, so you know how my review is gonna go. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to your why you didn't subscribe to your favorite YouTuber? Me, tell me. Subscribe now, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Adios.